Univariant. Okay. Alex?
Measure the central tendency.
Okay. Brandon?
Parameter.
That is actually pronounced parameter. Okay. Jagger. Well, we've already covered that.
Margin of sampling error.
Okay. Justin?
Variance.
I think we just kind of went through that with variable and variation.
Mean, median, and mode.
Mean, median, mode are all under central tendency.
They're different. It's the same thing, you wouldn't have green for them.
Tyler, anything to add?
Variance?
Well, we kind of went through that with variation.
Standard deviation.
Standard deviation.
Did you have that one, Ethan? What? Standard deviation? What?
Okay. Univariant data. What do you have for a definition on that one?
It's different.
It's different?
Like, if you would have a set of data, like if you were running a race, then all your signs would be different.
Okay. Different data for each sample. Okay. We probably don't see that term used very often, but it is involved in statistics. Parameter goes along with variable a little bit. What's parameter? Or as you want to pronounce it, parameter, but it is parameter.
A measure that describes a characteristic of a population.
That what?
A measure that describes a characteristic of a population.
Okay. Description of the population. Most generally, parameter involves a variable of some sort. Parameter is also restrictions. Such as a restriction of, like taking a survey, I am only going to survey those students that are taking a math class. That would be a parameter. Okay? Central tendency. Central tendency means a measure of the middle. Mean, median, and mode measure central tendency. What's mean?
Mean is essentially by the number of items.
We also call it an average, right? Which means that you take the sum and divide it by how many? Correct? So in here, if I wanted to get the mean of the class scores, I would add all your scores together and divide by how many there are. Okay. Mode.
The number or numbers that occur most often.
Okay. Repeating numbers or values. Can you have more than one mode?
Yes, sir.
No. Yes,
Yes, you can.
It says numbers.
You can have more than one mode. Okay. Median.
Middle number of the ordinal.
Middle. Providing that you go from smallest to largest. Correct? It can't just be a random, it has to be from smallest to largest. Okay? So far so good?
Yes, sir.
Sampling error.
Provides the interval that shows how much the responses formed the sample would differ from the population.
Okay? Has a nice little formula. It says 1 over the square root of n, where n is the population, or how many people you asked. If you listen to any of the news or so forth during an election year, especially this is used, they will say, oh, such and such candidate is liked by 49% of the people, plus or minus 5%. You will hear those types of numbers. It means 49% of the people like this particular candidate, but it could be as low as 44%, or could be as high as 54%, because of the plus or minus 5%.
That's a big difference.
Yeah? Could mean the difference between winning and losing.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Oh well.
What's the sampling error of Jacob hitting the green on the first hole?
0.
0?
My God. What about on 7 or whatever? The short 8. What about
Okay.
the short hole?
That has a sampling error too. Standard deviation.
0.
Not as bad as me.
Two common measures of variation.
Basically, the definition of standard deviation, to maybe make it a little bit simpler than what they had, is a difference or distance from the mean. Okay? That's what a standard deviation is going to be. Either a difference or a distance from the mean. Formula for doing standard deviation looks something like this. This represents a population standard deviation.
Is that an O?
No.
Look at that. Backwards 3. Oh my lord. Oh.
That's the formula. A lot of letters you've never seen before, right? This means population.
Is that a pizza?
No, it's kind of a circle with a tail on it. This means summation. If you've never seen it before, how many of you have worked in spreadsheets in your computer class?
Yeah.
If you look up there in the formulas, it has a little E. What did that little E do?
Oh, a little break in the line? Something?
Nope, it just has an E up there like that.
Yeah.
It means sum.
Oh, yeah.
It means sum. That's all it does, is it means sum. On a spreadsheet, where does it involve? Let's say that you had a column of numbers like this. And down here, you highlighted everything and you hit that little E, it says, I'm gonna find the sum from here to here. Okay? That's what summation means. But what does the K equals 1 to N mean? The K means starting at the first piece of data and concluding at the last piece of data. So if you have 10 pieces of data, that means starting with the first one, finishing at the 10th one, is what that means. But what does all this mean? Remember we said standard deviation was the difference between the mean and the value itself. Well, here's the value. Here's the mean. The X with the line over it means average. So what it amounts to is if I have a list of data, I find the mean, and then go through and subtract that mean from each one of the numbers, square it, because that's what it means, and add them all together. Finally, take that, divide it by the total number of people that there are, and then find the square root of that answer. Wow. We're not going to find a standard deviation today, but that's how it's done. So tomorrow when we do it, you kind of have an idea. You have to take and find the average, subtract it from each one of the pieces of data, square it, add them together, divide by the total number, find the square root of it. Okay? That's how you find standard deviation. It will be a little bit of an involved process.